Think you absolutely need a cool $1 million to finally kick back and enjoy retirement without a worry in the world? You know, it's a number the financial media just loves to throw around, isn't it? It's catchy, it's memorable, and it sounds like a real achievement, but here's the honest truth. Most retirees, both here and in the US and around the world, never actually hit that 7-figure mark. And guess what? They still manage to live incredibly happy and comfortable lives. So just look at the numbers here in the US. The average 401k balance we'll say people in their early 60s is well under $600,000. And in Australia, for example, 94% of retirees step away with less than $1 million in their retirement account, yet most report being satisfied with their lifestyle. So while a giant nest egg sounds nice, it's not the only path to financial confidence. And today we're going to bust this myth wide open and just kind of walk you through a framework that helps you figure out what you actually need. Remember, clear direction for retirement is about you, your unique situation. How does retirement fit into what your life has going on, right? It's true there are some strategies that work better than others depending on the size of wealth, but you don't necessarily have to have $1 million plus to retire and live comfortably. So let's start with the elephant in the room. That's the $1 million target that you hear a lot about. It's catchy, makes for clickable headlines, but it's really kind of an oversimplification. It really ignores the biggest lever in your retirement plan, and that is what you spend. And that's one of the biggest problems we see with people coming in is they have no idea what they're spending. So here's the reality. If your retirement lifestyle requires $40,000 a year above Social Security and other pension type income, a portfolio of around $600,000, if it's managed carefully, it can potentially cover you for decades, right? But if your lifestyle requires, let's say, $80,000 a year to live on, then that same portfolio is not gonna last as long, right? So what's the point? Well, the retirement savings numbers are only half of the equation. The other half is what's your lifestyle, your habits, your priorities, your flexibility. When you stop chasing someone else's arbitrary finish line and you focus instead on your personal, we'll call it the enough number, you can gain confidence and clarity in what you're doing for retirement. So how do we find the number? Well, step one is simple, but it's powerful. Grab your bank statements, look at your credit card bills, calculate your current annual spending, and list out what you expect in retirement: housing, utilities, groceries, insurance, car costs, streaming subscriptions, which used to be cheaper than cable and now they're more expensive. But anyways, then subtract the things that are going to disappear when you retire: commuting, payroll taxes, maybe even your mortgage, and then add back in things that you want, right, in terms of your lifestyle in retirement. That would be travels, hobbies, healthcare is a big one. A lot of people leave that out. But this gives you your annual retirement price tag. And it's this price tag that you want to take and then subtract your fixed income sources from it. That would be Social Security, corporate pensions, government pensions, those types of things. And then take that number and multiply that by 25, and you'll get a rough portfolio target that basically is using the 4% withdrawal rule guideline. And you can play with it a little bit. If you want to use a 3% withdrawal rule, you're just going to adjust the multiple, right? But here's the key. You don't have to cover that number alone. Other income streams can do some heavy lifting for you, which kind of brings us to step two. Most retirees have at least one guaranteed income stream. Now, there can be some argument as to whether or not you still believe Social Security is guaranteed. That's a different video for a different day. But for Americans, that's usually Social Security, right? Social Security is designed to replace about 40% of income for average earners. But here's the game changer. You can delay benefits and actually get a little bit larger Social Security payment. Claiming at 70, for example, instead of 62, can increase your monthly check by more than 70%. So that's tough to replicate in the market without taking some pretty significant risk. And if you're lucky enough to have a pension, like a corporate pension or government pension, or rental income could be another source, or even let's say an annuity income stream from an insurance product of some kind, those all add to your guaranteed income foundation. And it's a powerful lever in retirement. So the higher your guaranteed income, the less pressure you're going to put on your portfolio. So step 3, let's say that you've done the math and you need, I don't know, $60,000 a year. Social Security covers $30,000. That leaves a $30,000 gap for your portfolio. Here's where the 4% guideline comes in. With a $700,000 portfolio, 4% annually is $28,000. That's pretty close to your need. So what happens if it doesn't quite cover everything? Well, you've got some options, right? You can adjust your spending, you can save more for retirement, or even earn a little in maybe part-time income. I've rarely seen people that retire that stay retired. It's not because they can't, it's just because they get bored and they really want to go find something to do. So just remember, markets don't always cooperate. So a flexible withdrawal strategy, meaning pulling back during down years, that's called putting guardrails, right, on your spending habits. Spending maybe a little more in good years. That's often a lot more sustainable than sticking to just one rigid expense number. So step 4, here's a secret weapon, right? Make sure your income is flexible. A side hustle, for example, part-time work, turning a hobby into cash can literally create tens of thousands of dollars worth of portfolio value. If you earn, let's say, $10,000 a year doing something you enjoy, that's kind of like having $250,000 invested under the 4% rule. So it's all a matter of perspective and what your desired lifestyle and outcome is in retirement. But these income streams, a lot of times they can be seasonal, optional, fun, but they do provide purpose and structure in retirement and can be very helpful to kind of giving you some, I guess, confidence, if you will, that if markets go sideways, you've still got some additional income that's kind of covering things, right? So let's put together an example here with, we'll call them John and Jane. They're both age 62. They've saved $600,000. They own their home. They spend $55,000 a year. If they claim Social Security at 62, they'd get $42,000 annually. But if they wait until age 67, they'd get $58,000 annually. So if they work a little bit longer, let's say, and they let their portfolio keep growing untouched, then at 67, when they claim their full retirement age benefits, they really only need small withdrawals and can keep their portfolio intact for healthcare and legacy needs and so forth, or even maybe some additional spending if wanted. But there's no $1 million required. It's just smart planning, right? So the $1 million number in that particular example, everyone's case is unique in that sense, but it's a good example of how just a little forward thinking and financial planning can really take some worries out of the situation. Now, there's 3 powerful, I'll call them dials, that kind of shrink your retirement costs. So let's talk about that a little bit. What about location, right? Moving to maybe a lower cost state that can cut your expenses by 20 to 30% in some cases. What about debt? Debt is another dial. Entering retirement debt-free, although not always necessary, it certainly can be a game changer, and it certainly can help you relax a little bit and sleep better at night. Healthcare, that's something you want to plan early. Don't wait till the last minute. Keep up to date on Medicare rules, shop around for coverage, think about HSA, health savings accounts. Long-term care is another piece of that a lot of people, they really wait too late. And by the time they get there and they want it, the expense of it tends to be prohibitive. But either way, these are some levers that can reduce the financial burden far more than trying to chase some arbitrary investment return, right? So you just have to be flexible and think about the different ways where you can make some adjustments and make retirement work for you. Here's a truth that many forget. Taxes don't retire when you do. Uncle Sam is always going to want his cut. So, think about that. Withdrawals from 401ks, IRAs, they're all taxed as ordinary income. Roth withdrawals, however, if done correctly, are tax-free. So it kind of makes sense that you really want more tax flexibility than not when you get to retirement. Don't wait until 5 years before retirement, 5 years after. It's not that you can't make it work. It's just that you could make your situation a lot better if you're planning 10 or 15 years ahead of time, right? But blending those accounts strategically, whatever the mix is, the balance is, hopefully you have a mix and a balance of tax buckets at retirement. Strategically speaking, that can save tens of thousands of dollars over decades of retirement in terms of tax savings. And, timing the deductions in your tax return, things of that nature, it all can add up in terms of taxes. So tax planning is not optional. It's really one of the core parts of your retirement plan, and it needs to revolve around and be tied to and coordinated with your income plan. Your income plan is the foundation for everything in your financial plan. That is basically the philosophy we approach financial planning with our clients here. So always keep tax planning in mind, right? No matter how good your plan is, life changes, right? Life comes at you fast. Markets go up, they go down, your health condition can shift, family priorities evolve, obviously. And so that's why reviewing your plan once a year is crucial. Update your spending, adjust your withdrawals, rebalance investments, and revisit Social Security strategies if you haven't yet claimed. Think of it kind of like steering a sailboat, driving a car. If you just make steady adjustments, it'll help keep you on course better than making dramatic turns all at once. So try to stay ahead of the game in that regard. So if this framework feels doable for you, hit that like button and tell me in the comments, what's your enough number? What do you think it is? Sharing your story might inspire someone else to take control of their retirement planning and try to stay a step ahead of where they're headed down the road in terms of retirement. So let's be clear. Retiring comfortably isn't about hitting some mythical $1 million target. It's about, number one, calculating your true enough number. Number two, maximizing your guaranteed income. What can you depend on and count on and know ahead of time in retirement? Number three is bridging the gap with small withdrawals, right? If the more you can minimize that gap between fixed income sources and expenses. And then number four is adding flexible income that's on your terms, right? And if you do these things, you can retire with confidence, whether you've saved $600,000, $800,000 or more, right? So take the time today, run your numbers, create the retirement you deserve, not the one the headlines tell you to chase. And in the meantime, Wootton Financial Group will be here for you, providing you clear direction for your retirement.